My name is Anthony Tone Show Nunez, and today I'm talking about Jessica Jones Season 3. Let's talk about it. Okay, guys, so this review will not have any spoilers. We're just gonna talk about should you watch this, shouldn't you watch this thing. So basically, Jessica Jones season 3, guys, it's slow. I'm talking about brutally slow. The first few episodes are like, oh my god, what's happening here? Even at the middle of the season, it picks up a little, but it never really hits its stride. Honestly, the last 2 episodes on this show is when it finally gets going. This whole season, it's 13 episodes, just like the prior 2 seasons, right? But it felt like there wasn't enough story for all 13 episodes. It's like they had this amount of time that they had to fill, and they had this amount of story, and they were like, let's stretch it out, right? So it meets 13 episodes worth, but it definitely could have been done in 8. It could have even been done in 4. The story they're telling, it wasn't a story that needed this amount of time, and at times they're just struggling to get through these episodes. It was very tough, and it's not because they have some crazy character development, right? It's not because there's an amazing arc that Jessica Jones is going through. No, I would say that Jessica Jones really didn't have an arc this season to the level that we would expect in the final season, right? In the third season. If anything, the people around her definitely had story arcs, but not really Jessica. The story itself could have been served in much less episodes. And as far as is there a big bad that's really compelling this season? Nope, no big bad really compelling this season. I would say that David Tennant's Purple Man in season 1 was definitely the epitome of big bads, and it's definitely where this show was firing on all cylinders. I really don't think there's been a character as compelling as the Purple Man from season 1, and there's definitely not one this season. And I think one of the reasons that season 1 I really thought was a great season was that you had that balance, right? You had this character that was challenging Jessica and making her a better hero, kind of like the Joker Batman dynamic. And we didn't have it this season. I really felt like the villain was very underwhelming. Like it could have been somebody that she could have dealt with in a couple of episodes. It didn't need 13 episodes to tell this story. You didn't need it. It was very slow. Oh man, what's happening here? And it's not because of the cast. Kristen Ritter did a great job as Jessica Jones. Rachel Taylor does a great job as Trish. Ika Darville does a great job as Malcolm. He always brings it. And I gotta say, Carrie Ann Moss as Hogarth, like she is vicious. This woman right here, she is very vicious. The actress definitely brings it home. She's definitely a shining light on this season and every season of Jessica Jones. So I don't think this season was hurt because of acting. It's never been the acting. It's always been the writing. This show kind of suffers from the same thing as all the other Marvel Netflix shows, and I think we talked about it on this channel already. I've spoken about it. You said it on the comments, and it has a lot to do with the fact that there's no direction. There's no general direction of where the story is going. There's no elevation. It never really goes somewhere where you think it's going. As far as like it getting bigger and bigger. After the Defenders, it never really went anywhere, and this particular season feels the same way. Like, where are we going? Like the driver is basically lost. He doesn't want to turn on his Google Maps, and that's how this season kind of feels. And I wouldn't say because, again, it's because of the acting. It's because of the way the show is written. And as a positive that the show did have this season, I would say is representation. This show really knocked down representation, knocked it out the park. CW, pay attention. This is how you bring representation in front of the camera. It showed you characters from very diverse backgrounds, very diverse characters, and it didn't force feed them down your throat. It just basically showed you, hey, these are the characters. This is what's happening in their life. These are the challenges they're facing, like every other human being, right? And it did in a way that it kind of didn't put a spotlight on it, but since they were there, that was very important, right? It's very important that they're seen so people can see people who look like them on the screen. I thought they did it. They knocked it out the park with representation. They also knocked it out the park with the directors, right? The behind the camera, there was a lot of good representation on this season and this show in general. I think so. That's definitely a good thing that this season has going for it. I also gotta say, somewhere where the show didn't knock it out the park was the powers, right? This show for a superhero show is very low powered. I'm talking about, it's not even a superhero show. I would call it just a hero show because they're very low on super, right? They're very sparingly used the powers. Jessica Jones is super strong, and there could have been so many cool action scenes that they did with her abilities or parts where they show off her strength. It doesn't happen. It's very rarely used. Maybe at the end there's a few scenes where she uses her abilities, but as far as powers go, this is a real low budget power show. And speaking of budget, I'm not sure if Netflix, they're written this way because of it's a cost cutting measure, or it's because because the show sees itself more as a detective procedural show than a superhero show. Maybe it's like a detective procedural show first and a superhero show second, but there was such a lack of powers and abilities. This is a Marvel show, a superhero show, right? They don't have capes, but she has a leather jacket. So show us some more powers. We didn't get it at all. And every season, they just really hold back with Jessica. If it wasn't for the fact that you know who she is, you would just go through this whole season not really know that she has abilities at all. And when the people who do have abilities, they're really like low abilities, like low budget abilities that you write when you're in college or you're doing film school. Those are the abilities that people have on this season and this show in general. It's something that they really needed to work on. This is the last season, so obviously it's not going to go anywhere as far as they can't work on it anymore. The question you're probably asking yourself is, should I get invested and watch season 3? Not just because this is the last season, but because this is the last show of the Netflix Marvel show. So should you get invested? If you're not a longtime Jessica Jones fan, hell no, do not watch this season. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time. This is the last of the Netflix show, so it's not going anywhere. It's not like it could build to something. And if you're not invested with season 1 and season 2 of Jessica Jones, why would you even bother? That's honestly, like, I would not bother. If it wasn't for the fact that I already seen season 1 and season 2, and I was so invested in all the Netflix Marvel shows, I would have stopped after a couple episodes of season 3, because I was like, oh my god, it's too damn slow. But since I was invested, and Kristen Ritter and the rest of the cast, I thought that they definitely brought their A game as far as the acting was there, the passion was there. I was there for it, and I wanted to see an end. I want to see what these characters that I grew to enjoy. I wanted to see what was going to be the ending of it. So that's why I watched it. As a Netflix Marvel fan, I would say watch it. Come on, like you're in this far, so you're in the deeper waters already. So you might as well watch it if you've seen season 1 and season 2. If you watch the other Netflix shows, the other Marvel Netflix shows, you should watch it because you're a fan. That's what you're probably watching this video. So definitely I would say, hey, watch it. Just get through those first few episodes, like 1 through 10, and check out and just watch it for the last 2 episodes. The last 2 episodes were my favorite episodes, and I think it's where the action took off. This season was so actionless. I don't know what the hell happened. It was so actionless. It's like at points that were like, let's just make it as boring as possible. So I don't know. I really feel like most of the Netflix Marvel shows suffer from this. Like, they were too low on power and too low on direction of where they wanted the hero to go. The show didn't really capitalize off the times that it did kind of go peak a little bit. It kind of went right back down. So this season of Jessica Jones is so much like season 2 and season 1, where you want so much more to happen and it doesn't happen. The pacing definitely, I think, really killed this season. It's kind of fitting that Jessica Jones is the last show of all the Netflix Marvel shows, because it kind of suffered from all the same drawbacks of all the other shows. So it's kind of fitting that this was the last show, the last season. So honestly, I'm going to be sad to see them go, but I really don't think they wrote it in a way where there was a place for the characters to go from here anyway. It kind of seemed like they were going around in a circle. So those are my thoughts on Jessica Jones, the last Netflix Marvel show. I just crossed a milestone right here on YouTube. I just hit 1,000 subscribers. So a big shout out to Bot Alex. He's subscriber number 1,000. And a big shout out to all you guys for subscribing and riding with me through the years, guys. I started this YouTube channel to share my passion of TV shows and movies, and it's been a great experience. And I'm hoping that you guys stick around and I get to share more of my passion with you guys, and we get to talk about more shows and more movies right here on The Tone Show. So if you watch Jessica Jones season 3, or if you're thinking about watching it, hit me with a comment. Let me know what you think about the show if you saw it, and if you're thinking of watching the show, why are you thinking of watching the show? Put it in the comments. Let me know about that. As always, guys, this is The Tone Show. Tone Show. Ooh. To like and subscribe for more Tone Show.